for having me here today. I'm thrilled to speak at Empowering Women 2020 Live. So, women were born to change the world. I have always known this, but I never said it out loud when I was younger for fear. For fear of embarrassment, being told I was wrong, being laughed at. So I never said anything. I never said those words out loud. But it really hit home for me when I was speaking at a women's conference with another woman, Dr. Terari Trent. So if you don't know Dr. Terari Trent, she's worth a Google because she is a woman who started the schools in Zimbabwe with Oprah. And throughout her presentation, she said with conviction, women were born to change the world. And it really struck me differently because she talked about the small moments in life that have a big impact, and those small moments that women gave her that moved her on her journey. And it made me realize I have had those small moments too, from women giving me courage, giving me support, giving me their kindness, a shoulder to cry on when I need it. So now I am confident and I shout from the mountaintops that women were born to change the world. So I had a aha moment, and I'm going to tell it to you because it was a small moment for me that had a big impact. So sometimes you hear of aha moments when, people are, summiting a mountain or walking along a beach during sunset. Other people have moments of clarity while practicing mindfulness or meditating. My moment of clarity, the time I said, I see a problem, there must be a better way, and why can't I be the one to change it? Was at a toy store. So not so glamorous, yet a small moment that had a big impact. So parents out there, you'll be familiar with this scene. You're running into the toy store with your child by hand because she needs a wrapped birthday gift for a party she's attending in 30 minutes. Well, that was me, and my daughter Grace was with me at the time, and she was 9. And she had just gotten done playing soccer. So she's still dressed in her little soccer uniform. She had her cleats on and her shin guards, and her hair is in crazy messy pigtails, and her face is all rosy from exertion as we're running into the toy store and frantically going up and down the aisles when a line of dolls just stopped me in my tracks. They had on short skirts, crop top, belly button ring, big hair, lots of makeup. I look at my little girl, I look at these dolls, and I pick up one of the dolls, and the name on the hang tag is Lovely Lola. So this is the doll. And Lovely Lola had a lot of friends. Lovely Lola had Sizzle and Sue, and Dazzle and Destiny, Cute Candy, and I thought at that moment, there is not one person out there that wants their daughter to look, act, or be called Lovely Lola. So I bought the doll, obviously, as I'm scolding all the salespeople, saying this doll is sexy. You should not be marketing to sex to girls. You are a nice toy store. And they're like, lady, I'm 16. And my daughter's running behind me. Mom, is that the birthday gift for Maddie? I'm like, no. I'm buying it to show Dad. I need to show Dad, which confused her even more. So I did. I brought the doll home to my husband and I said, hey, listen, I am so sick and tired of these negative images that are marketed to girls. I think I can do something about it. I think I can create a positive image product that encourages girls to be healthy physically, mentally, and emotionally through sports and physical activity. So as I look back on my entrepreneurial journey, it was that moment in the toy aisle that made me realize something I already knew. That we as a culture, specifically the toy industry, was doing a lousy job showing girls strong, smart, and powerful images. So that moment on the toy aisle led me to create a positive image product for girls, be invited to the White House as a thought leader under the Obama administration, eventually sell my business, and now act as an activist promoting girl power, women power, and gender equality, all because of Lola. So that moment in the toy aisle was definitely my moment of clarity, but there were many situations in my life, big and small, that shaped who I am and how I feel about gender issues and gender stereotyping. My own personal experience that made me realize the importance of girls knowing what their minds and bodies can do versus what their bodies look like. And while these gender issues and these gender stereotype issues were on my radar for years, for decades, I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't know how I could change things, so I pushed it aside. And what really opened my eyes were my 3 children. So I have 3 kids, Peter, Grace, and Ben. And so when Peter was 8 and Gracie was 6 and my little guy Ben was 2, I started to see this discrepancy in the products marketed to my 2 older ones. I started to see products marketed to girls were associated with appearance and attractiveness, and products marketed to boys were associated with violence and aggression. So my boys were not violent or aggressive, and I didn't want to encourage this. And my daughter's super smart, and I didn't want her to all of a sudden think that she needed to just focus on her appearance. And one of the first observations of this was in a toy store. I guess I was destined to go into the toy business. But I was going into the toy store to get a science kit for the kids. And I was immediately annoyed because I walk in and there's a boy science aisle and a girl science aisle. And I thought to myself, when did science become gender specific? But I followed directions and I go down the boy toy aisle, and what do I see is a cool volcano exploding, you know, the one that you put the baking soda and the vinegar, and on the packaging, you know, the boys have goggles that showed action, like, whoa, you know, crazy. I'm like, great option, great outdoor option, but a great option. But now I'm curious, well, what is marketed to girls down the girl science aisle? Sure, you can be a scientist, but you can make your own fingernail polish, you can make your own makeup, you can make your own hair bands. I mean, it was all, again, focused on appearance. So I pushed it aside once again because I didn't know what I could do personally to change anything. But that all changed when I met Lola. And I'm going to show her one more time because I want her to be fresh in your mind. And that's when I knew what I could do personally to change things. That's when I knew what I was going to do to make a difference. But what I didn't know was the long road ahead of me and the battle I would begin to fight. So once I decided to move forward on this positive image product for girls, I needed to figure out what to do. I knew nothing about the toy industry, manufacturing, shipping, barcodes, anything, nothing. And I knew I would figure it out. So I started with research, and I found a lot of baby dolls out there and cute, you know, rag dolls, and in the doll category. I did not find any sports dolls, but I did find a lot of dolls, you know, for example, Bratz dolls, you know, of course Barbie, but, you know, that fell into the sexy category. And I realized that if sex is one word, a word, the 10th word that comes to mind when describing a product that is marketed to girls, it's not a good product. It needs to be pulled off the shelf. So I also started to find other products that undermine women and girls and that fuel gender stereotypes. I found some t-shirts that say, you know, marketed to like 10-year-old girls, that said, I'm allergic to algebra. Another one that said, you know, I'm too pretty to do homework, so my brother does it for me. You know, other t-shirts that said, you know, training to be Batman for the boys, and then to the little girls, training to be Batman's wife. You know, it's just saying to these young girls and, you know, and boys that girls take a second seat. They sit on the sidelines. They're not the main character. So all these different products that are marketed to our girls and boys, they add up. They're small moments that have a big impact. So I needed some also some hard facts. And I found out that 17 million girls in the United States play one sport a year. That's one sport a year. That's basically 1 out of every 3 girls plays one sport a year. And sports and physical activity are associated with healthier body image, higher self-esteem, improved academic achievement, and leadership skills. And then it leads into adult life, where 400 female corporate executives were surveyed, and 94% had played a sport when they were younger. So girls play sports, and so should their dolls and the characters in their media. So it took 2 years from rough draft to the actual debut of tennis girl Gracie at the US Open, where 500 sold out in 6 days. So I had a good test. I knew I had a good product. I knew I had a good message. And that was in August of 2008 at the US Open. My next goal was in February of 2009 to launch the entire line of 9 dolls at the New York Toy Fair in New York at the Javits Center. So, and I go in thinking, oh, I've got the next best thing because I had this great test at the US Open. Well, not so much. I had so many buyers come to my booth and say, oh, soccer girl, I love that doll. My daughter would love that soccer girl doll. And I'd say, well, how many would you like to buy? That's great. And they go, no, we're not going to buy it. And I'd say, well, why? And they'd say, well, girls like fashion. Can you create a fashion doll? I'm like, that's my point. As a mother of a daughter and as a woman, I am positive girls like more than fashion. Hey, it's okay to like fashion. Heck, I love fashion, but it doesn't define me. It doesn't define me at all. We're all complex human beings. We have so many different interests, but to only give girls this one option and pigeonhole them doesn't make sense to me. So I hung in there for 5 years, for 5 long years. And what kept me going was the media. I won all the top awards in the toy industry. I was on the Today Show. I became part of Gretchen Carlson's Female Power Panel on Fox. I was in the New York Times, Parenting, Chicago Tribune, you name it. I was in there. I had all these features, so I knew I had a pulse on what our culture wanted. I knew I had a vibe that parents wanted more for their girls too, but the buyers were my gatekeepers. So what else kept me going was my squad, my pack. And I've realized, young or old, there's power in the pack. The support that I received from other women was unbelievable. We have to support women. We have to break that stereotype that women don't support women, because study after study shows that women who support women are happier and more successful in business and in life. I also believe in acknowledging the great work of women, as well as mentoring. I had so many mentors, and I mentor now. I'm happy to pass it along. But we have to include good men too, because for us, in order for us to achieve gender equality, men need to be involved too. And they want to be involved. I get calls all the time. Men, how do I do this? What do I do? Can I have can I ask you questions? And don't judge me, please. I'm like, oh, for sure. Bring them on. I also think that networking is important. It's always hard, but it's important. Because if we're going to help each other, we need to know each other. So the power of the pack, and support women. So, like I said, I hung in there for 5 years. And after those 5 years and 500 no's, I decided to give Toy Fair one more shot. And I told my husband, if nothing happens, I'm going to throw in the towel, which just broke my heart, because I knew girls deserve more. But I had to be realistic too. So I get to Toy Fair, and this, 5 years later, I have this crazy opportunity to pitch to 3 Walmart buyers. I had 5 minutes. I gave them my best pitch, and after those 5 minutes, they said, this is a winner. If you can write 6 books to go along with 6 of the dolls, package them together, we will put them in Walmart stores. So I'll show you the doll and book set. So this is the doll and book. This is Dancer Girl and the book that went along. This is just an example. And that is what got the ball rolling. By 2016, I was invited to the White House twice to participate in conferences on breaking down gender stereotypes in media and toys under the Obama administration. And then I eventually sold my business to a large toy company called Jazzwares in Miami. And I thought my story ended there. But just recently, Jazzwares returned the brand to me, my intellectual property. And it was tough because they couldn't come up with a blueprint to launch a strategy, to launch a girl empowerment product that they felt comfortable with. Because it's never been done. This would have been the first true girl empowerment product, and they got cold feet. That's a good breakup because they returned the IP to me, the intellectual property. So, but what I've realized is that we talk a good talk when it comes to supporting women and girls and wanting them to rise to their full potential. But it's a lot more difficult to have action and to put it into place. So I've also realized that my journey has been more than a doll. And my new book will come out, it's called More Than a Doll, in October of this year. So I started my talk with you today with one of my favorite quotes: women were born to change the world. And I want to end with another one of my favorite quotes by Madeleine Albright. She says, "There's a special place in hell for women who don't support other women. But for those who do, there's a special place of honor." Thank you.